One.
We are all going to die.
Um, Last time on the Fallen Returns, you guys had made the decision to ascend to the very top of the castle to get the queen, who, as you know, is sort of the heart of the resistance, who want to overthrow Demorial and her forces and reclaim the castle, reclaim Vianoth as their own. So, upon stealthily making it up to the top level, taking stock of what was here, a library that had tomes and scrolls, possibly thousands of years old, and who knows what kind of information there. You found a locked study that was alarmed. You went to the very top where the royal apartments were after giving it a Telrenian hello. You guys made your way inside where um, upon you guys ran into Alex's twin brother Ambrose, who came upstairs and was wondering why you guys were doing this and that sort of thing. Trying to insight check them, you all still felt like there was something wrong, and it turned out to be there was something wrong. That he had become a thrall of Balberith, the demon lord of Shadows and Whispers. A fight ensued in which turned to be harder than you all anticipated. The professor calling down a swarm of meteors helped shake things up a bit and provided enough so that you guys could figure out what to do. Connor gave another door Telrenian hello, and I think another door Telrenian hello, managed to rush into where the queen was, threw an axe into someone's head, which he pulled a Peter Griffin for about 15 minutes before dying. He grabbed her, clicked his boots of speed, leaped out of the window, taking the carpet, and the two began floating down. Inside, with the professor unconscious, Corin pulled the word of recall, taking the professor himself, Telmar, and Arendir, and flashing back to the holding point where your armies were meeting. Alex brought back up with Corin's healing word and a potion of flying that was tossed to her, managed to take it and run as Balberith, in his last moments of using his fun little toy, killed Ambrose, feeling that he had failed him most miserably. And that is where we left off. Is you guys having split the party, as it were. So I hope you all can bear with me because this is going to get really interesting here. We are going to be flitting in between viewpoints as we figure out what's going on.
Joy.
So, that said, Connor, you can feel dozens of scratches from where the glass has scraped against your skin, but you're not paying it any heed. Your focus is purely on the carpet and the queen that is currently sitting next to you on it. And you can see on the sky above, occasionally something catches your eye and you realize it is a glint of silver. Not silver, a glint of gold. As you can see the form of Old Man Jenkins still providing harrying of the castle and the keep as close as he dares, and turning your head to see, you see the a section of the castle completely gone. The meteors having decimated a good portion of the royal apartments, and there even now there's some walls that are sort of tumbling over, falling as bricks and mortar sort of hit the walls and tumble further down the castle walls. You can see Alex sort of trying to catch up behind you, and as you focus the carpet down into the city, you see the queen as she sort of touches your arm and then points in a specific direction of the city, towards what you see like to be some of the lesser taken care of sections of the city. And she points almost emphatically.
Oh, well, I'm going to take a hint because I can't speak with her. I'll point the carpet in that direction.
So you point the carpet as you start to head a little bit lower.
Jesus, lady, I only speak two languages, English and bad English.
As you sort of take a hard curve, Alex, I take it you are following behind?
I am.
Okay. So you two, are you trying to get on the carpet or are you just flying behind?
I'm just flying behind. I was hasted for a minute, which,
Okay.
yeah, would bring me to 60 feet every 6 seconds.
I think you were unconscious right before you.
No, I stood up, cast haste on myself,
Oh, nice. Okay.
flying, and got out of there.
Yeah, you managed to keep up fairly well as you guys start to descend. She keeps motioning you to turn here, turn there. There's flashes of images by you see windows shuttered, barred in most places. The streets seem almost empty, ghost-like. Occasionally you see someone look up and run, slamming doors behind them as you get to what you see as probably the poorer part of town. She motions to what seems to be a closed-up brothel.
Joy.
And she motions you to the door. And motions you to set the carpet down.
I'll set the carpet down and then, roll it up and shit, I don't have a bag of holding. So I guess I'm just going to strap this thing to my back.
You kind of use various belts and straps and pelts, and you just kind of get it onto your back as Alex, you land close behind, and she puts a finger to her lips to you both and motions you all to follow her as she kind of pushes the door open. And this is a strange scene of outside everything seems to be silent and gray as the mountains that surround this capital city. But the inside there's bright golds and reds and purples and gem tones, and it is warm and inviting in here, and you smell fresh baked bread and roasting meats, and there seem to be a fine selection of ladies and gentlemen and other gentle people sort of entertaining in here in various states of undress. And there seems to be mead and ale free flowing, and no one seems to pay you all any mind as you walk in. Instead, a couple of people manage to catch the sight of you all walking in, and then quickly nudge each other, and they get louder and more raucous as you see a slight young woman, maybe in her early adult years of an elf, and she kind of motions you all forward, and she starts talking low to the queen as you all are led and back. There you see these huge, giant kegs, which are lined up against the wall, and she picks the third from the left, and she does a series of knocks that sounds oddly like shaving a haircut 2 bits. And you watch as the keg slowly descends into the floor, and the top slides open, and you see a set of stairs leading down. And the queen motions to follow her as she walks down the stairs, and as she goes, you watch as the torches one by one light up.
I'm going to continue following her.
Yeah, same.
You guys follow her, and it corkscrews down quite a bit of ways, and you find what seems to be the most sub of sub-basements. It is austere, it is very cut stone, there's almost no decoration. What you do see are notes and maps on the wall, and there seems to be a giant wooden table that dominates this space, and it does seem to have a giant, not a giant, but a miniature of the castle, which seems to be in pieces, showing different floors, and there seem to be the surrounding area and various sort of figures that, as you look, mean different things. There seem to be little soldiers here and there. There seem to be weird things that look like moving shadows, and there are people sort of hunched over it talking amongst themselves in this strange version of Elvish, and they all stop and look at you all as you enter, and seeing the queen, they immediately snap upright and then bow. And she kind of waves her hand and starts talking to them, and then immediately points at the maid, one who's wearing robes, and does the "come here" motion, which goes, huh? Points to himself like, oh, me? Oh shit! He runs over because this queen. Oh shit! I wasn't expecting this. Runs over, and she talks to him, points to you all, points to herself, and points to him. In which case he kind of sits there and he goes through his spell book, and then he nods, haha, and he touches her, and she turns and she smiles and she goes, much better. I hope this helps to understand each other.
It does.
Yeah, that's very helpful. I wasn't going to want to stand here and playing charades and asking 50 fucking questions to get anything done.
Same. There's way too much to do and not enough time to do it in. I appreciate you liberating me from my captivity.
It came at great cost, so it better be fucking worth it.
I hope so as well. You are outsiders. You've come from the rest of the continent, I assume.
Yes, we do.
Do you have an army?
Yes.
Good. Going to be needed.
Koskana stands united behind us. The barriers are falling now. So,
As I figured they would. The barriers won't last long. Demoriel is on the warpath. She feels she's getting close to what she really wants.
resurrecting the Balamon.
Yes. There is lots to discuss. And information I think you all will find extremely useful, considering I know where Balamon is sealed.
This makes everything what we did useful.
It is a secret passed down from ruler to ruler, in case such a time came that we would need to enter the lowest of his tombs. But right now, we need to leave. What happened there, Demoriel will know. And you can bet she will have everyone in her service try to hunt us down. I can give you the resistance. They know the ins and outs of the castle better than almost anyone. And even better, they are quite skilled in guerrilla combat as well as sabotage.
That's going to be invaluable in this time of war. They're just long ago men understand that those who are us outsiders and friends.
Someone is super staticky.
It might be me. Sorry.
Well, I figure the resistance can help slow, stop, and otherwise help your army out. They know the landscape, they know what's happening, and she looks to all the people behind her. And most of all, we are all willing to give our lives to stop Demoriel, to stop Balamon from being resurrected. It is why we're here. It is why 2,000 years ago we swore to be defenders and guardians of his tomb. We knew at some point it might be asked of us to lay down our lives for it. And we will, if necessary. This is bigger than all of us. This is for the future of our people, for our children and our children's children.
So do you have troop numbers, deployments? I understand your information is not going to be real-time or even current, but having a static number of what we're dealing with would always be helpful, and where Demoriel's massing forces, or even arms and armors.
Demoriel is mostly holed up within the inner sanctum of the Temple of the Fallen One. It's in the mountain proper. The books, the legends say that when Balamon first came to the material plane, the gods themselves, when he was defeated, built the mountain on top of him so that he may never escape. His tomb is in there, he's sealed in there, and that's generally when Demorial has been. It is hard to know where Balbereth is. He is a moving shadow. Wherever there is light, you will find him in a corner. But he typically doesn't leave the castle much either. He likes to be able to control, to see. The other one, well, Adremelech is usually leading the armies, though Demorial seems to be frightened lately. There seems to be a group that call themselves the Dawn's Graces. I assume that is you.
Guilty as charged.
You killed her son. Thank you for that. She's afraid to lose Adremelech as well. So, instead, she has proxies. She has a system of crystal balls and scrying and telecommunications in order to try to give her will out. If you take that down, the armies will be in disarray. And she kind of motions to someone, and she kind of takes it and she starts reading off numbers. They've been trying to augment the demon army with undead from that human man. At least he was human. And he was a necromancer of sorts. He seemed to have made himself a little bit of a lich.
God, what was...
Valara.
Thank you.
Alan.
He is not nearly as clever as he thinks he is, but he is very powerful. He has been using those who stand up against Demorial, killing them in horrific ways, torturing them, and binding their souls to himself for more power. The more agitated, the more angry his soul is, the more power he seems to have. He has done so with some of the people who followed him. Souls bound to service, no more than batteries.
So, I'm unfamiliar with this, with most things in the dark magic areas, but if we cut the source of the battery, will they all just drop back to death? Or are we gonna have mindless undead?
No. If you take care of the source he's been feeding, it should take care of the undead, but I believe almost unfortunately everything's in the castle. Demoriel wants you to come to her. But I feel that we can find a lovely arrangement where my resistance can go in and fuck with things, to put it bluntly. Time for elegance is gone. And they can also help harry the army, cut connections with the scrying, with the magic, so they don't get their orders. But I feel this would probably be best left to your commanders, which is why I would like to get to where the rest of your army is stationed. I want to be as much help as I can, as well as being far away from Demorial.
Well, we can certainly use you where we're at. I mean, we're 20, 30 miles outside the capital?
You are.
Oh, and I'm gonna turn to Alex real quick. Is there any way you can signal old man Jenkins to stop harrying the forces so he doesn't fucking die for no reason?
I can try. I could send a telescription paper to him.
Or I turn to the Queen, like, is there any way for your scouts to send up flares that, get the fuck out? Because I would hate to lose an ally of such strength, but we're gone. There's no reason for a distraction.
She nods and she shouts some orders over her shoulder, and you watch as people just go. There's no talking, they immediately go to their business. And she goes, "Do you know exactly where your army is located?"
Connor would know where the army's located.
Yeah, you guys have essentially used that town that was abandoned.
Yes. The town with the old mage tower.
She arches an eyebrow. The one with the teleportation circle.
That's the one.
That's the one my husband likes to go to. I have that teleportation circle. And we have someone who knows how to use the spell teleport. And the mage just kind of fidgets and kind of blushes, and it sort of goes up to his ears like, I'm gonna be useful to the queen. This is gonna be so cool. And she nods. She's like, well, whenever you all are ready, I can try to get us out of here as best we can. Trying to teleport this close to the castle, I'm unsure if it will help. But we have to try. I really don't want to. It's the colloquialism. Hoof it all the way there.
No doubt if we can wave our hands and be there in an instant, that makes it far easier because our friends are already there. We had to split our group because I, kicked down a door to save you. What the fuck was that thing made out of?
Ironwood.
Ow. My own creation used against me.
I love you, Charles. She nods and she's like, I am extremely appreciative. And when this is all over, I will see that you all are well rewarded for everything you all have done. For right now, let's see if I can try to repay at least a little bit. And she barks another order, and you watch as this guy sort of runs up very carefully as one can run, like moving quickly but don't want to jostle the box. And she opens the box, and inside there are there's one supreme healing potion and 2 superior healing potions.
Sweet.
It's not much, but it's what we have here. I'm going to give the orders for everyone to pull back and await what we decide when we meet your armies. However you all think it'll be useful. They can strike hard, they can strike quick, and they can try to debilitate as much as possible. I fear there is very little time. The mage goes about readying the circle. Is there anything you guys want to do or want to ask before y'all get the fuck out?
I think Connor's got everything he needs. He got he's got troop numbers. He's got everything else. All that stuff he wants. So he's ready to move on.
I'm good outside of grabbing a drink from one of the tables.
Yeah, there's some ale, and it's a good one. There's notes that you've never really had an ale before. And you feel the muscles in your body start to relax, though at this moment it's probably hard to find any sort of relaxation, any sort of relief from what you're feeling. And as you drain the mug and set it down, the mage nods, letting you know he's ready. And the queen's like, hold on a minute. And she grabs a dagger and she cuts her gown and starts wrapping it so that she is ready for battle. She's like, just in case. And she puts the dagger in a garter belt.
Oh, actually, before we go, I don't suppose you have a cleric around here.
A cleric? And she goes, no. Unfortunately, most of these scallywags here are rogues. A couple arcane tricksters and a couple mages. There are some clerics with the resistance, but they're out in the field at the moment. I'm sorry.
It's understandable. That's alright.
I
just feel like shit. But let's go.
The mage finishes the teleportation circle, and you watch as it flares to life in a swirl of magic, and you all can see this sort of opening leading to the familiar insides of the tower. And without a word, she immediately walks through.
Let's go see if the others are fucking alive. Not transcontinental warp loop. Let's go.
You guys walk through the teleportation circle, and as you do, this magic snaps closed behind you, and you find yourselves in the Mage Tower. And we cut to the scene above the castle, an ancient gold dragon flying overhead, peering down at what seems to be a ruined section of an ancient castle, almost with a fine eye trying to discern what's going on. And he watches as some of the magics on the castle start to flare up, and he sort of beats his wings and flies off, and he feels a swirl of magic as he kind of realizes that there has been sort of someone trying to contact him. So he veers off and flies away. And he's muttering about the one fucking time he doesn't have his goddamn spectacle on. And he flies away as bits of the castle wall continue to fall, breaking down, showing sort of the inside of this once great castle. And once again, we cut as this sort of warm, brilliant light of divine magic swirls around you, Talmar, Corin, and Arendir, and around the unconscious body of the professor, and it sort of clears as you find yourselves in the makeshift temple that's been raised as per the forward base of your armies, and everything is quiet here. Corin, you reach out and cast Cure Wounds on the professor as you hear nothing but the frantic beating of your own hearts and the labored breathing as you're recovering from battle. Professor, your eyes open as you take in a deep breath, and you see you're no longer staring up at the sky from inside the castle, but this sort of temple, quiet.
Where are we? Corin, where are we?
We're in the temple, in the camp.
Corin, we have to find our daughters and my wife. We sent them to Ambrose, Corin. We sent them to Ambrose. Where's Ambrose? What happened?
Arendir is just on his knees.
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
I really don't. It's weird. We ran.
Obviously.
Come on, let's go find them, Professor. They've got to be here.
Where's Alex? And Connor?
I couldn't... They were too far away. We couldn't stay there anymore. I had to leave without them.
I have a logistics question. I know some of you guys rewatched the episode. We heard Connor break the window before we teleported, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. I just didn't remember if that happened before.
I think we mostly know that Connor's fine. Corin thinks that Alex is probably dead because of how close to being dead she was.
Well, you healed her and stuff.
I healed her. I threw her a potion of flying. I hope that they both got out all right. But for now, we have to find Eowyn and your wife, Professor.
Help me up, please.
I help the Professor out.
Yeah, I'll assist.
The Holy Bros pick up the Professor.
Thank you, boys. Do I even have that spell prepared? I don't think I do.
I go storming out of the tent, looking for a ranking official.
Okay.
But I'm old.
All of us storm out while holding up the Professor.
Just
Yes,
holding
I
it
like
up
it
and
this way,
start
like just
looking
like
for his-
my arm in each of your arms, and you're just dragging me along.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got it. Don't worry, anyone. Arendir says to your backs as he gets up off the floor by himself.
Talmar, you had one job.
I swear to God, Talmar.
That's what he says as he gets up.
Fine.
I look for a high-ranking, like an officer of some kind, and tell them to find Fioriel.
You actually run into Vistra Firebreaker, your friend of
A
from
dwarf.
Yep, and she is dwarves sitting there, and she's barking orders at other dwarves, and sort of just going for it of, you take that, you go there, this is not fucking hard. It's like, if y'all didn't have your heads up your asses, this would be easier.
Miss Firebreaker. Where's Furio?
She's flying out to the west. Why?
Fuck. What about...
Sent it to watch the
Have
woods.
you guys had
Fine.
anybody arrive here recently?
Wait, what?
Have you guys had anybody arrive here recently besides us?
Listen, there's people arriving all the fucking time, alright? There's only so much I can fucking do, but
2 women and a small child. A girl.
I'm sorry, I've been dealing with these jackasses. Corin, make an athletics check.
Athletics?
Athletics.
What the fuck's happening to me?
As a small child, bold in legs.
I rolled a natural 1.
Roll a strength check.
Strength.
Watch out for that pebble, Corin, as you fall over.
I rolled a 13.
As you're talking and you're sort of looking down at Vistra trying to figure out what the fuck's going on, there's sort of this nervous energy. You're completely focused. You don't notice there's a blur that comes at you and runs right into you.
I smash it with my maul! No, I'm just kidding.
And you slide but manage to keep your feet up without being knocked off. And you look down, you are still in battle, but you go to look down to see what it is, and you see Eowyn clinging to you, crying.
I pick her up and I hug her.
And she hugs you tight as you watch as, sort of jogging after her, you see Tiri and Allie. They look disheveled and
Oh, thank the
tired.
gods.
And Allie just runs over you, Professor,
That's
as
less
does
worrying.
I
Tiri.
try to run towards them, but
I'll support you as you do so.
Delmar, to my wife, please. I leap into his arms. No, I'm just kidding.
I just roll my eyes and go with it.
The bodyguard style. As you all are reunited and Eowyn's crying in your ear, absolutely fucking shaking now that you all are out of danger, and all you can hear is, Daddy, Daddy.
Allie, how on earth did you see Ambrose?
We didn't find him in the cell. We tried looking for
No,
him.
that's
and
fine. He was turned by
I know.
Bolbereth.
We saw him.
You saw him? What do you mean you saw him?
He tried to ambush us as we tried to find him. He wanted to kill us. But our daughter is a resourceful one, and she cast a spell and was allowed us to escape long enough for us to, for me to have us teleport out. She cast Time Stop.
Oh my.
That's pretty
Max
impressive.
Payne bullshit.
You watch as Tiri gives a sort of very small, soft smile, and she goes, I didn't want anything to happen to us. One of the few tricks I had left up my sleeve, I figured.
It's a good
They got
trick
us.
to keep up your sleeve, my dear.
Allie just kind of shakes her head. She's like, I'm sorry. I wanted to give warning, but
It's fine. It probably wouldn't have changed much.
you look like hell.
Ball bearings is quite. Sorry, Bolbereth. Bolbereth
Ball
is
breakers.
more powerful than we originally thought. Gesundheit.
Thank you.
I'm glad to see. I'm glad to see you. I was terrified.
Well, we almost didn't make it. I need a rest badly, but we need to find the rest of our party. Corin and Alec. Corin, not Corin. Connor Everyone with these C names. Connor and Alex were left behind. Listen, Telrinian. Time stop. I walk away.
Aw.
At some point, Connor should, or Corin should get a note.
Oh, do I get the notes, Nicket?
That's probably gonna be a while.
It's gonna be a little
Yeah.
bit because they were flying and shit.
Right, yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
just noting it.
Yeah, it is duly noted, and I will let you know when the note arrives. But yeah, everyone is just kind of. Alan just looks at you and is like,
Did we leave Battleforge in charge of, like, the whole thing? Like, strategical things?
he's one of the heads.
I'm just trying to think of like who would have been the person organizing troop movements and stuff. Like, the most.
Battleforge is doing it. The Empress of Oknell is also involved.
Should we call a meeting
I think we should at
to
this
talk
point.
about tomorrow? What
we
we
need to
do?
talk about what's happened, what intel we found out, and what we need to do now. We can't just stay here.
We need to get our friends back.
And if we need to storm that castle, we'll do it.
We also need to find out what's been going on while we were inside.
Right. Okay. I grab a page and I say, tell all of the heads that we need to have a meeting. It's urgent. From the Dawn's Graces. I'm Corin High, and I give him a gold piece. All while holding Eowyn.
And the paid flies in.
You shift Eowyn, and she goes, Dad, you can put me down if you want.
No, that's alright.
And she just clings to you, and the page just looks at the shiny gold coin and just looks at you wide-eyed and nods. You're the Dawn's Graces? Oh my... Yeah, yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! And he kind of just... This is like some gangly youth where he hasn't quite grown into his height yet. And so he goes to pivot on his feet to go and run, and he gets tangled up in his legs for a minute and kind of stumbles, hits the ground, and pushes himself off to keep running.
Our message isn't getting there, you guys.
At this point, Mirai comes out of her bag and is sort of running around and just excitingly squeaking and just hugging everyone. Just so glad that you guys have survived. Are you guys going to be staying there, or are you going to find a place to sit
I
down
thought we
and
would
rest?
start heading towards the tent.
Yeah, we're heading
Like
towards
the main command
Yeah,
tent.
command tent. Well, that's
Yep.
where.
command tent, yeah.
It's sort of they've taken over what seem they seem to have knocked down a couple of the more ragged buildings and have kind of leveled it and erected a giant command tent. And there seem to be people going in and out and in and out, and you guys sort of walk in, and there seem to be several people talking. There's a giant war table with various bits and bobs all over it. And there doesn't seem to be too many people here that you recognize, except for one person who is wearing resplendent plate armor and a giant fucking sword upon his back. You see the Archcleric Brennus.
Oh, what's up, brother?
Brennis, greetings.
Corin, greetings. Greetings to you all.
Do you, by any chance, have you seen Fiorio? She's off flying
It's scouting
the mission,
west.
right? Yeah, okay, never mind.
Yes, she's been out west. I've seen... Oh, what's her name? Her
What-
daughter.
My order's head.
Z something.
Zinna.
Zena.
That's that. very precocious. She came in to report what she was seeing out to the east.
We need to call all the heads. Everybody, every officer, every leader of every army. We have to have a discussion about
It's not edible.
some things.
Oh, alright then. And there seems to be this sort of green glass orb that's sitting on the side of the war table, and he runs his hand over it. And you watch as it lights up, and he goes, your friend that you found from here? Galen? Something
Yes.
like that, I think. He set up this thing where everyone carries small green glass pebbles, and if we need to call everyone to the table or call back to base, we touch this and it sends a sort of beacon out and lets them know to return.
You touch this as I touched the thing that he was gesturing to.
Yes, there is a sort of buzzing of magic, and he goes, he's been exceedingly useful.
Yes, well, I keep touching it. Is there urgency based? Is it urgency based magic?
It is out of my realm of knowledge, I'm afraid.
Well, let's find out.
As you just, it's kind of like pressing on the buzzer, like, meh. Wonder when these assholes are gonna answer the door. You guys, there's chairs, and the second you guys move to chairs, people back and fuck off. Brennus orders someone to go grab some ale and some food and some water so that you guys can clean yourselves up and refresh yourselves. At this point, you get the note, Karin.
Okay.
And you all sort of watch as people are going in and out, and the first to arrive you see in resplendent battle mage armor is the Empress of Toknel. And she seems to be walking in step with Tess Hexblade, who sees you all, and there's sort of this smile of relief, but seeing at the condition you guys are in, it's sort of a little bittersweet.
I gesture for Aowen to go over to Tess.
Aowen just runs over and hugs her, and she hugs Aowen, and then Aowen starts tugging her over to you. Like, no, Aowen's very sure she's going to make this all better now. As the Empress sort of walks in and asks Brennus what's going on, and he mentions that a meeting needs to be called, and she looks at you all, and you watch as her eyes linger over all of you, and she goes, shit.
I've never actually met her though.
No, you haven't.
Who is it?
This
The
is
Empress.
the Empress.
The Emperor.
Ah.
Is, approaching about 30, dark-haired. She carries herself with grace and dignity and power. She ascended the throne at a relatively young age, and she seems to have grown into it fairly well. But she is indeed a trained wizard.
I'm gonna really
With the
refrain from
Arcana.
telling her. So
And she walks in, she looks at you all and counts, goes, "You're missing two."
Yes.
From what I can tell, I pull out the note and I look at Aaron Deere and the professor and Tamar. They're so far all right. I just got a note from Alex that they and the Queen are safe for now.
Thank gods. And Aaron Deere, like, visibly relaxes.
that explains the crashing then.
Yeah.
And the glass breaking. And the screaming.
That was me, sorry.
Sound a little more feminine than you.
Don't put your whatever on
The
me,
evil
Talmar.
on me, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah.
The professor just wraps his staff like 3 times.
Aaron Deere just looks at him.
He has tenure.
Don't make me show you. um, yes, Your Highness. They are acquiring the Queen of... What, the Balai? Is that the name of the people again?
Yeah.
That is what they have been called outside of this
Well, what did
place.
Galen say they were called? Did he tell us?
No, he did not.
Okay, he is rescuing the Queen, all part of our plan. However, we hit a bit of a snag when we fought Balberith.
She nods, very tight-lipped.
We
I
are
see.
in the interim. We are in the what is the word? We are in this process of acquiring the resistance to join our side as well. It was key that we find the Queen. Unfortunately, sacrifices were made. But we appear to be the ones who are spilling blood right now.
Apparently so.
It's high time the rest of us, the rest of you, put in your part.
She arches a delicate eyebrow at you.
I just full
Yes,
on
professor's on my side.
full on Shell and Daryl face.
I'm gonna very, very smugly smirk over there. Just this very quietly.
God, Dalmar.
I'm gonna punch Talmar.
What, do you want me to make a wisdom save? Seriously?
No, I'm not gonna. Not yet.
She cast Dominant Person on you?
I just look at Talmar and I just shake my head like, dude.
I'm allowed to be smug sometimes.
No, you're not.
That's
Your holy symbol snaps in half.
I'll
not
buy you some Doritos.
It repairs magically.
And on the back, you see this message appear. Better bring that fucking Baja Blast Mountain Dew.
Throw in
Ooh,
some
you can only get that at
Funyuns.
Taco Bell.
Don't get the Cool Ranch, they suck.
Give me that spicy queso. Anyway, she...
I won't apologize for my tone. There is no love lost between your country and my organization. But we don't have time for that.
No, we don't.
We are on the brink, I feel. The tipping point.
It all starts tomorrow. The push into the city.
We have to be quick.
That
We will
castle
be
was
quick, and we will be decisive. We have
I can-
Telrenian strength and Toknel's magic. Persephone is doing its best to bring the might of its automatons.
It will all be for naught if Baelamon wakes. There's not an army on this continent that can stop him.
I fear not. If he wakes and gains strength, I fear there will be nothing any of us can do at that point.
I have a spell. You might have heard of it. It's called Earthquake.
I may have heard of that.
I can take down some section of wall. We just have to figure out what's the best section. Preferably what's the weakest section of the wall and most strategically advantageous. We actually need Galen here. Perhaps he can give us some sort of map or outline of like what the city actually looks like.
Old Man Jenkins has very familiar with the castle's look at the. I would imagine now.
Right.
I would ask
Also,
his
combined
advice
with your
as well.
earthquake, I can also take out a fair chunk of their wall within a mile radius.
I would appreciate it if we didn't kill civilians.
Are there civilians on the wall? Because then that might be a problem.
With a 1 mile radius, you'll probably affect the keep unless you angle it properly. How good
Correct.
is your math, Corin Gladstone?
Oh, my math's terrible, but luckily
He can cheat
it's-
on this test.
it's 100-foot radius, so it's not as big. So I think it's all right.
Galen will be here shortly as well. He's been called. Battleforge will also be arriving. He's been out with the troops. He's been talking with Vistra and with the Duke's men. Othilla has also, and Mythiga has also brought stuff. The prince shall be arriving shortly as well, and all his sellswords. He was complaining that there wasn't much left after the King of Tal'Ren bought most of them out.
Yeah, he's got most of them on retainer now, I think.
I'm like some scummy grandpa lawyers.
That's exactly what you are.
She sort of crosses her arms and goes, well, if tomorrow is when it happens, then we will get ready.
We already started it today.
Well, I figured as much. It was really not entirely too subtle, bringing down a swarm of meteors onto the castle.
And at that, the temp flaps flip open. And Tal'Ren's not known for their subtlety, I'm afraid.
You fucking idiot!
As you see
You
Connor,
glorious idiot.
Alex, and who you assume to be the queen walk into the tent.
God, it's good to see your damn ugly faces.
Wait, where's Alex?
Alex
I'm
is-
right here.
Just imagine
Oh,
you
Jesus!
doing the Reaper race thing.
Yeah.
Just right behind Corin.
Yeah, and I just collapse next to in a chair next to Arendir and grab the bottle and just take a pull and give it back.
I've got more of those. You can keep that one.
Is this another, like, after Shadowfell fight where we just all get really hammered?
Yes.
The Empress looks at you, Connor, arches another eyebrow, but she smiles at this. She goes, good, subtleties for the birds.
At least our little foyer into the castle wasn't a complete waste.
It seems not, and she inclines her head a little bit at the queen, and the queen inclines her head a little bit back, and she looks at you all, and as she speaks, and she goes, "Thank you all for what you did back there."
It was dumb, but it worked.
Barely.
Barely.
Well, it worked, so.
Yes. There's no point in thinking on the what could have been. We have what is now. Now, Your Majesty, tell us
We
about
have to
your
strike tomorrow.
Well, we're getting to that. We'll need the information from her.
Yes.
Welcome to the war for the world. And I
Yes.
gesture to the war table.
It is a war my people have been fighting since the barriers went up. I'm very familiar with it. And I am very glad to see that all of our peoples once again stand together against this menace. It is a day I had hoped would never come, but here we are. And she will tell you all what she told Corin and Alex. She knows exactly where the Tomb of Balamon is. She knows exactly what Demorial has been doing. She has been doing her best to unseal all the levels of the tomb to get down to the very heart where Balamon is sealed. She will tell you that Lord Valara has been trying to raise as much dead, bind as many ghosts as he can to give power, and that she oddly enough does not know a lot about what Belbereth does. He's extremely secretive, and where he tends to hide himself, she does not know. He is very much his namesake. He is whispers and shadows, and trying to pin him down has been the hardest that the Resistance has tried. But Adremelech is also in the castle proper. She has been holed up in the war room, which is located behind the study, which is that room that you all had found locked and alarmed.
Oh, who wanted to go in there? Who wanted to go in there? I didn't want to go in there.
Yeah, definitely not the professor.
I didn't want to go in there. I chose to ignore it, didn't I?
That's where you said where Adremelech is?
Yes.
Didn't we say that too? But we're like, you know what? Fucking Adremelech or Demorlo might be
Someone
right
was
behind
like,
the
"Well, there
doors.
might be magical scrolls in there." I'm like, I'm not going in there.
No, that was the library.
Oh, okay.
Arendir will say,
I got
As-
confused
as they're
about how
talking
many doors
about-
we went in.
well, while the queen is feeling upset about Balbereth and how he's like impossible to pin down, that we need to take into account the possibility that anyone we fight will also be fighting Balbereth at the same time. If you can appear in shadows anywhere, if we're fighting Adremelech in a room and there's a shadow, Balbereth might be there also. And we saw what he did to us alone with the weird shadow thing.
Well, we were also drained on resources and not entering a fight, willing to die in it. We were ready to run.
That's true. Just pointing out that I'm scared of him, that's all.
I am too.
Well, Demorial's afraid of losing assets when you stop taking assets off this board.
I agree with Connor.
I mean, the Queen here is disrupting communication between every one of them, and if we can... I don't think we're going to draw Balbereth out into a fair fight. Not at all.
No, Balbereth's going to pick his time when it's most opportune for him.
Exactly. We can
You're
tell.
right.
Unless there's a way to draw him out.
The queen taps the table. I will let you know that the first person to leave when Balbereth was losing, well, Balamon was losing, was Balbereth. He's not willing to risk himself in this. He wasn't before. I don't think he will again. He survived because he ran.
He said he needed to formulate a different plan.
I'm not surprised.
So he's an
You all
opportunist.
left.
Yes.
We can use an
I'm so-
opportunist.
yeah. I'm surprised Demorial allowed him back in their ranks then, if he abandoned them the first time.
Maybe she just needs his power.
The queen nods. He is very powerful. He is also very persuasive and very deceptive. I fear you learned that firsthand.
I look at the queen and I ask, just beyond the walls in the city, what can you line out strategic, like valuable targets, different buildings and places that we can set up command posts throughout the city? Is that something that you can do? Work with one of our strategists and maybe draw us draw us a small map,
There we go.
perhaps, of what we're going to be facing in the city.
Okay. So we're back at this thing. Jesus, I really need to fucking draw a map of the goddamn city. The queen nods. I can give you exactly where there are buildings that have underground tunnels that lead to the castle that Demorial would use to funnel demons out of in order to try to fight. I can tell you which tunnels that they don't use and that the Resistance uses instead. Tunnels you can use to get inside the castle once again, should you wish to go that route. I can tell you exactly, and she starts listing off what she can do. There, she can tell you exactly where the wall is the weakest, where if you coordinate and throw down power, where it could destroy stuff without hurting anybody innocent, but instead do strategic damage and also work to serve as a distraction. And she starts listing the stuff that the Resistance can do and all that kind of other stuff. At this point, you watch as Battleforge walks in. kind of like gives you guys a grin, and he claps you on the shoulder, Connor, as he goes. He takes a stand at the war table. Sorry I'm late. Was talking with Fiorio.
Oh, sure, old man. Probably just limping across the field.
Listen. That's not a limp, that's a stagger. I bring news from Fiorio.
Please tell me it's good.
It's very good. She decided to... She found a section of the barrier that was weakening because she found a portal to the Shadowfell.
Another one. God damn it.
She destroyed it.
Oh god.
She says she is currently busy trying to recover, but she says that the barrier where she is extremely weak. She hazards to guess that the barrier won't last much longer.
Well, are we still concerned about that? Do we think they're going to march their army away from us out into the continent, or do you think they're going to?
Well, we
face
have
us
their
first?
attention now.
Right,
We are
that's what I
going
mean.
to
I mean, they wouldn't
attack them in
abandon
their
the
home.
tomb of Balamon with a full army at it.
Well, they wouldn't, but they also got to think the fact is they may send raiding parties out to try to draw us away. Because if civilians start to die, well, that's one of our greatest weaknesses, is that we have an entire world at our back that needs to be protected. So if they start sending raiding parties, that drains resources from this.
At this, you watch as sort of Battleforge kind of rubs the back of his head and goes, "That's what Fiorio thought." Because there is a passage in the mountains from here that leads directly to Talren, leads directly to the capital. If they were to march and try to cut where we could not see, they would probably launch a direct attack on Talren.
And here is where I show Talron can be rebuilt.
Talren is her people, and most of her people are here
Exactly.
fighting. But not to say that Talren did not lead the fucking charge.
Tip of the spear. Talron can be rebuilt. The path gets raided. The path gets raided. Nearly anyone who could carry a spear or an axe get marched with us, and anyone who's left still knows how to fight.
Agreed.
I turn to the queen and ask her, is there any other way into the mountain besides through the castle pass, or whatever? So if there's only one path down, we know it's going to be guarded like a vault. Well, probably is a vault, but you know what I mean.
I'm sorry. The DM kind of had a brain fart moment. What are you asking?
I was asking the queen if there's another way into the mountain besides through the castle. Because if the castle is the only way in, we know it's going to be guarded like crazy.
There's only one way in, and that was intentional. It was to make whoever was going down to Balamon's sealed tomb extremely hard. It was only ever supposed to be for me and the keepers.
Yep, that makes sense. Just checking.
I will say that we are thankfully at a place where there's only one person left alive who knows exactly how to get to the bottom to where Balamon is sealed without any trouble. And that would be me. The Keepers decided to kill themselves rather than let Demorial get the knowledge.
Can you guarantee that they killed themselves to a man?
There's only two. And they killed themselves in such a way that there is no way to speak with them as they are dead. They cannot be raised. They ritualistically ended their lives so that Balamon will not be brought back. It is part of their training should the worst come to pass. And it seems our training has finally come to fruit, unfortunately. But I can tell you exactly what you need to do, where you need to go, what you need to say, what you need to do in order to get down to the bottom safely, if you absolutely need to. I pray, hopefully, we can stop Demoria before she even gets near there. But she is hastening her work in as many ways as possible. She was using the Hag and Lord Valar's work to power to just brute force her way down there. I don't know if you saw that pile of bones outside the castle walls. They were half those who were used to fuel these rituals to break down the seals that were built over a couple thousand years ago.
So it seems like Valar is our first target. Take out the whatever magical backing that she has. The Dremelech's a warrior, not a mage.
Did you? But what about the Hag?
Hag's dead.
The hag is dead.
You killed her.
Yes.
Like, I kind of looked at the professor. He killed her.
I bit her head off.
You...
She stole
He
my.
needs-
She stole my
literally.
daughter.
He's not being metaphorical either.
She looks at you, Professor, and there's this sort of glee on her face, and she goes, "Oh my, that must have been gruesome." Good.
Professor Velethwil Adar Shalendero, at your pleasure.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I am Minra Shah.
It is our pleasure. One question,
Yes.
of many probably. Our all-out goal is to stop Demoriel from unsealing Balamon. Balamon
Yes.
cannot be destroyed. Sorry, I meant that more like... Balamon cannot be destroyed? Question.
Okay, reflection. She looks at you and she goes, "The cost to bring him down from the zenith of his power to him being sealed was great. No one had the strength left to see if he could be destroyed."
So you're saying you don't know, and there's actually a good chance that we could just break that fucking door down, put a hammer through its skull, and call it a day.
She looks at you and there's this sort of... She turns ashen and she goes, "I would not recommend opening that up if you really had to."
My whole point is that we could defeat Demoriel and Balamon, or not Balamon, Balberith and Valar and Dremelech, only to have to do this whole cycle again.
Exactly.
The whole point of this is to end it for good. If I have to sacrifice my life to make sure that Balamon no longer exists and this world is no longer threatened, that is something I am prepared to do. I just need to know that it's possible.
I run on the assumption that anything is possible.
Until proven otherwise.
Exactly. This existence is improbable, not impossible. Everything that's happened up till now has been improbable. We were told that Balamon was sealed, that he would always be sealed, that there would be nothing. But
And then Demoriel came.
Demoriel came, but it started before her.
How so?
The seal on Balamon has been weakening for the last century. His influence has been leaking out. We've tried to stem it, but We don't have the manpower to fix the seal. The seal was created with the help from so many throughout this continent, throughout the kingdoms. We are but one. We were meant to be guardians. Which is why I propose, when this is all over, that we don't seal us back up. It was foolish to think if we sealed it away, if we didn't talk about it, that it would solve itself.
No, I sort of look. Okay, this is what I'm gonna say. Like, hiding from things and making it look like things don't exist is not a solution to problems. And I sort of like just look over at the Empress.
I just flip the table and just start screaming, "Ah!"
She
Another
arches an
smirk happened.
eyebrow and says, I agree, which is why reforms are going to be made.
I put the paper table back down and go, "Whoa!"
Oh, that's pretty feasible. Cool.
It's why all the archmages of the Arcana have been let go from their positions, and more amenable people have taken their place.
It's nice to see Cascana finally becoming progressive. Too bad it
It's
takes
just-
a war to do it.
She shrugs. Well, it's hard to take out an entire organization without pretense and not have it look like tyranny.
Fair enough.
Um,
Go later.
it's just like this and this, and I like this place. This belongs to Town Red now. I stick my flag in it. It's official. The Dawnwood is now part of Town Red, even though it's right in the heart of Topnell.
Oh no! There's if we make this out, there's actually a legitimate plan that I want to like try to instill.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh, here for fucking this. Oh man. Okay, so the Queen nods and goes, "The Resistance is at the ready. They are guerrilla fighters," and she mentions all the things, including the magic. Blah blah blah. I told you all that earlier, so I'm not going to rehash that shit for time.
So, if we do this tomorrow, then what's the plan now? What's the plan for tomorrow? If we can get four
We take
sections,
the-
if we can get 4 sections of the wall exposed and safe from casualties, within a mile of me, I can open 4 holes. Even if I have to ride on Old Man Jenkins, wherever he is.
Fuck yeah.
Because I sort of want to cast Meteor from the back of a gold dragon.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah. You can make 4 holes? Is that what you said?
So the range is 1 mile on Meteor Swarm.
Okay.
And I can pick 4 different points that I can see within range. So I can make 4 40-foot radius sphere meteors clash in a range of a mile. If I'm reading the spell correctly. So if I'm on a dragon back, I can see within a mile. And I can cast and pick 4 locations to throw a meteor, which then does, 20d6 each.
Okay. So, boxes. The blue box is where you guys entered. That's where the fun slide is.
Yeah, fun slide. On the left side?
Yeah, I thought it was
That's so
the
funny,
right
like, that's so funny how you brain pictures it, and then... Okay, so we went on fun slide.
Fun slide, and then the black is the front door where the foyer is. The yellow is where the library is.
Okay.
That tiny green box at the bottom
Tiny green.
of a mirror
Oh.
is where the brothel is.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to mark where the
It's all coming together now. In my brain picture.
here, here, here. Pink boxes are buildings the Queen knows have passages that lead to the castle that are controlled by the demons. And then this green one here, I'm going to make it brighter green, has the Resistance HQ, and then there is over Mir is a building that has a section of dilapidated tunnel that was supposedly closed off, but they've since reopened it and used it for the Resistance. And if you want sections of wall that are weak, I want color. Give me color. Give me color. Give me color. Give me gravy tonight.
Give me fuel. Give me fire. Give me zapatapatao.
This section right here is weak, as well as this section right here. Look, I made a map. I'm proud of
I
myself.
think this one's our best bet
Rah.
to go through.
Which one first?
Left side.
East or west? Alright, west.
West.
Because then we could just get these control points that we need, and just keep moving through the city. Maybe leave that one. Just take all the ones on the left side, on the western side.
Well, I mean, do we need to destroy the tunnels? I mean, it's going to take unless these.
I mean, if we have them, then if we under our control, then we can send troops through into the castle from the tunnel. Not even have to worry about doing like a siege on the castle itself. But it's also possible that once we start capturing the tunnels, that they're going to start blocking off the entrances,
Exactly.
exits into the castle.
I don't want to. Strategically, I don't want to like commit a bunch of men into these tunnels just to have them collapse.
Right.
Like sending maybe a quick strike for like us through a tunnel, or like say we send sappers or someone through one of these tunnels to blow shit
Right,
up.
but since we know that that's where the entrances are, we could at least block off the entrances so they can't get through.
Yes. So we can deny their resupply. We can at least stop random floods of demons entering when we're going to have to start taking the city and fighting street. The street's going to be bloody and nasty.
Oh, it would be cool though.
Oh, it's going to be super sexy. It's going to be like taking a town in like Normandy.
Snicket,
Yes.
the town, is it shaped this way? Like, is it mostly square? Like, there's blocks by block, or is it like?
It is very much block by block. It is very planned, very oriented.
So it doesn't follow like it doesn't do like a curve around the wall. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Okay, so I'm gonna do a thing. Here.
like it doesn't do this.
Oh shit! Look, the town's
The shape
down.
of it.
R.I.P. Town.
That's fine.
Just see what I'm saying, Nick?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Here, I'm gonna freehand it. Oh god, what? Oh, I was gonna add on to your orange. So, the town, like, it's more like that, and there is a main boulevard that goes like down this way.
Is it of Broken Dreams?
Certainly feels like it sometimes.
Ow! I'm gonna go like sit in the shame corner for that joke.
And the buildings are still there, so there's one on the main. There is also one that goes east. Objects on the map may be bigger or smaller. So there are dozens of small alleys and whatnot, but there are two big roads that sort of take it to the sort of like just like okay, cool. So anyway, fuck, English is hard. There are also, let me see. Somebody's messing with their phone. Towers here and here. Kind of. And then there's the gate. Is there anything else that I need to put down, or?
I think it's pretty good. I can take down at least one of the towers. The tower closest to whichever way we want to go in.
I mean, I could definitely.
If the professor takes down the wall, I can definitely take down at least the tower.
Do we also know where the troops are? Last we heard, they were 5 miles out, and we snuck past them. But we've since attacked the city. Do we think they've retreated? They've done well, or retreated within the walls?
We don't even know what.
Jenkins might know because he was there, but
Then we don't know what effect the skirmishers had on their ranks either. So
right, exactly.
they could be, spread out trying to hunt people down and trying to be kind of disorganized. But with the Dremelech still being a thing, I doubt it.
Yeah, it seems like they've run a tight ship, probably.
Battleforge kind of taps where the bulk of the army is sitting exactly where it was left. It started slowly moving forward. They haven't heard anything recently since you guys had that lovely meeting in the hallway. He kind of goes, Adremelech has them on lockdown. They are not pursuing anybody. They're not falling to any bait we leave. They're waiting, it seems, for the right time, though after what just happened, Adremelech may not be the one to make that order anymore. Demorial may order them forward anyway. She is, I assume, is going to be angry, and the queen sort of nods. And Minrasha goes, Demorial is very prone to fits of anger and rage, and when she makes orders during that time, they're not quite always the best decisions. Before, it hasn't mattered because it hasn't been grand scale. Now, everything on the line. Making her mad might end up benefiting us in the long run. She's going to be angry, and she's going to want to try to hurt you all as best she can. Which means that she's going to be hyper-focused. Which is great if you provide distractions. Show the small child a shiny thing.
Well, if there's anyone that can piss her off, it's us.
Well, since you've added a wonderful skylight to my castle.
Yes.
That was pretty badass.
Sort of not sorry about that.
Don't be. You saved yourselves and you saved me, and quite possibly have allowed us some time, and have also probably pissed off Demorio and stopped her from whatever she was doing, so she has to pay attention to that. I think it was a stroke of genius. Besides, I can always rebuild. My people are alive for now, and that's all that matters to me. I will keep them alive. And if my castle has to crumble a bit, oh well, I can always redecorate it. Preferably with Demorial's skull over my throne.
Yeah, I called dibs on that.
Adremelech?
Fine.
Oh, I should have kept
Diplomacy.
I should have kept the hag's skull.
They're so decorative.
Connor and Alex, actually, when you were leaving, when you were flying away from the castle, did its dragon defenses seem to notice you at all? Did those turrets
We got out clean. But those old man Jiggins was still flying through the air fucking with shit, so...
Lay down. Back up.
So I don't know if they're prioritized to large flying dragons or...
Right, just anything flying.
Or anything outside the city walls.
Because that Queen Minratha brings up a good point that we did just put a giant hole in the top of the castle, which we may not need to sneak underneath it. I mean, we'd have to fight our way down to the tunnels, probably, but we could at least kind of airdrop paratrooper near a Dremedex war room, last we heard. You know, as an option. I'd look at everybody.
The queen looks at you. She's like, you don't need to go below the castle to get to where you need to go for Bob Bilamon. The way to the tombs is not through the basement. It's through the library.
Oh, interesting. What a novel place to put such a thing.
It takes a little bit of
Novel! I get it.
I like to think that it was in character.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
That was a
normally,
pretty funny joke, Professor.
normally everyone puts them in the basement.
And she goes, if you want to fly in, that would put you relatively close to where you need to go for both the Dremelach and getting to the library.
Well, it did make it easy to fly in.
Yes, you did, with a lovely new skylight. At this point, I think I just might put glass over it to serve as a sort of memorial of sorts.
I don't know why you put your quarter so high up in a vulnerable place.
You will have to take it up with my ancestors.
Yes, well, ancestors sometimes make trouble for us all later on.
Indeed. But, that said, if you want, Resistance can run through the castle and provide distractions at the main levels while you all take care of the things upstairs.
We need just a plethora of distractions, I think.
I don't. We have to consider or figure out the Resistance may be our only troops in the city. I doubt we're going to crash our army against a demon army quick enough to also breach the walls. I mean, we could take them down as we go past them, but I don't know how long it'll be before our army pushes the demon army back far enough.
I think we should stay with the army long enough to get a foothold in the city.
Well, I mean, with the issue with, I mean, that's a fantastic idea. The issue with it is we're gonna have to back them up 5 miles.
Exactly.
I mean, if we
Unless we somehow sneak an army past them.
well,
I
if we
don't
can
think
get them
that's
on fast enough, we may be. I think if we hit them simultaneously as we try to take out a Dremelech, break their leadership, break the army.
Or at least one of them. Whether it's Valara or Dremelech or somebody.
Well, Dremelech should be having, as she said, has most control over the army. And if we pull the Memorial's attention off trying to unseal the doors, is a better idea as well. Because she has to
Right.
to stop the army from breaking.
Yeah. I say Valara only because if a large part of their army is undead, if we kill him,
Yeah,
we kill his army. Right. But or we break the mastermind behind it all. I guess.
There's multiple ways we can go about this, but it all involves us getting back into the castle. I don't think we're going to be able to ride at the head of this army. As much as I would love to do that.
Oh no, I'm just a little worried going back into the castle.
Do we think any of the leaders will be in the field with them? Do we think any of Valara will be commanding his undead from the back of his army, or do we think he's in some bunker somewhere or something?
I would
I
assume.
kind of looked at everybody.
Look at the queen.
She looks back at you. I've not seen him out in the field, but then again, I rarely, if ever, see him. Before I was sent to my room.
Well,
Damn all these.
I just had a very, very stupid and very crazy idea.
Oh,
Well, You can't really beat the one you had earlier today, so go ahead.
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, challenging a Dremelech to a duel,
You're an idiot.
You'll die.
not just me, all of us.
I don't know. I don't think that will work with her. I think she's too smart.
I don't know. We've got very little information. All we know is that she's a swordsman. I mean, we appeal to her vanity, saying that we can defeat her, and we may be able to pull her out at least into the field, and not in a place of power. Because if we go
draw from it. Sorry.
hate you, Mike.
Come on, you softballed it right to me.
I know. Just listen to me. If Talmar use Compel Duel, it'll just work.
Yeah, first level spell. You got this.
All's failed.
Tamar, they say you have to cast Compel Duel on a Dremelech.
I don't have that prepared.
Well, goddamn it, Talmar.
Tamar, you had one job!
Well, the thing is,
God dang it, Talmar.
I'll tell you what, Tom, you're sitting there only having one job.
I'll tell you what.
Dang it, damn
Baba?
right.
oh,
Compelled
I'll
duel.
tell you what.
Born
Yeah,
free.
Okay.
Okay, Dad.
So, at this point, what is your guys' actual legitimate plan that you guys are gonna do?
Okay.
I don't think we've
Let's,
figured it out
I-
yet.
Well, I think we've got two plans. We've got the airdropping above them or going through a tunnel. I think that's pretty much what we've assembled, because I think the army's going to do what the army's going to do. I think we're going to be able to control, or at least make sure, like, we can kind of give them an idea what they need to do, but it's going to be one of those things that's going to be like off table.
do we know anything about what Persephone's automatons do? Does anyone here know? I looked at the whole council, everyone.
I
They make
shrug.
great bombs.
That's what I'm asked. That's what I want to know.
You're going to explode the husbando bot.
Oh wait, we found out they're like all souls and shit, right?
No, you guys. The ones that the Persephone is fielding, they're mindless automatons. They're
Oh,
essentially
thank God.
they have no souls in there. They're not actually like Aegis. Thank Christ.
They're not like Warforged or anything.
No, they're not sentient at all.
Okay.
You all know that they can be armed to explode. They would prefer not to lose all their fucking automatons, considering how long and how expensive it is to make them.
Yeah, but sure, so we'll throw a life that took 20 years of training and food and love away like it's nothing, but your piece of fucking machinery has a better...
Ooh.
Savage.
I'm telling
Fucking
you.
savage.
Oh man, this is.
I hope he went up and just started yelling that at the fucking Persephone people.
Well, if it became an issue, exactly, like, so a human life is worth less than your fucking machine.
Oh dear God.
All right.
Do you actually say that out loud?
Yes, that's exactly how Connor feels about it, because Talren's bled the most for this cause so far, and the fact, I mean, I'm not saying that they should be sent, like, my idea is shock troopers. They don't feel pain, they don't know fear, send them walking into a fucking slaughter fest, and then let them just walk through. They're not gonna break, they're not gonna run.
At this point, there is, you see Tess kind of shrug as much as she can, considering right now she doesn't have her mage arm engaged. And she goes, well, I may or may not have been having discussions with Persephone on using their automatons as mobile bombs. After hearing your plan, my liege.
It's a good fucking plan.
It is a good fucking plan. There is a budding business in Persephone called the Fauna Arcana. The Fauna Arcanum. And I believe they said that they would be the ones to help cover any losses of the automatons.
Oh, you say something.
Which is very interesting considering they seem to be makers of airships.
I knew it.
But they said if we need to use them, they will activate them as such.
It was just an idea.
Well, I think it's an actual very good strategic point. We can start sending these things in with because how did you say about 1,000 of them?
Yep.
So if we send 1 or 2 of these things each with units, and if things start to get hairy, allow having a squad commander or something be able to detonate one of these things to allow the men to get out, or maybe we can open up another hole through that door if we just punch through and then just send these things walking up against it and blowing up.
That was more my idea. If we could open both sides of the wall, is that worth it? And just meet in the middle of the city?
That's the thing. It depends on how big the city is and how big our army is.
Well,
If we're really spread too thin doing that, then I would say no.
Right. I mean, I'm pretty sure we only left 3 people behind in the whole continent. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
you're probably
everyone
right.
is here.
And one of them is Gamble.
Okay, so I have this is more of a strategic idea, and it's very, very bloody and very, very nasty. If we leave Talren at the front, and then we funnel more specialized troops through if we blow those sides, leave Talren up in front, holding the line, while we
Like the front where the gate is?
Well, it's just have them either have them charge the line of demons and engage them that way, while we have, the Empire, everyone else, or the cell swords hitting the sides, blowing the gates, and then funneling through the city, and then.
I was just making a joke.
And my idea would be having Talren probably the bulk of the cell swords, and then leaving them at the front, having the Prince and the Empire bust through the sides, clear the city, and then come out the gate and slam into the enemies behind.
I like that idea.
Yes.
I might even be able to help smash the gate up a little bit. Instead of focusing on the tower, then I can focus on the gate. Use my earthquake while the professor gets the.
If me and my daughter each fly in from both directions on dragons, we could take the walls out from both sides. I would just have to teach her some tricks.
So we're gonna say basically Talren is here. Hold on. Yeah, in the middle. To the left is like the Empire, and
up here would be Shar.
Up here would be Shar. Yeah.
Because I don't know how much Ducasus and all them can actually commit to a fight.
Ducasus, Mythagar, Othella, and Shar, Mythagar, Ducasus, and Othella.
Chalu?
Yeah, they can. Most of them are going to combine themselves and distribute among Toknel, Talren, and Shar.
Okay.
It works. Islanora is committed. Is sort of. They're also dividing themselves up between the 3 bulk forces.
What about the Wayfarers? Are they here? Are there any of the Wayfarers here?
Not that you've seen.
It's a very large camp, so yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
There's also one group that's sort of been running around, harrying the enemy and gathering intel for the armies. Very familiar name by Captain Llewellyn, who's been...
He's probably the scourge of the fucking demons at this point.
I just got this image of Llewellyn coming back, just covered in blood, a new scar across his face, just draped in enemy armor. What's up?
So
I'm pretty sure there was an 8th Dawn's Grace we didn't know about, and he hasn't.
awesome.
You all actually have gotten word that some of the Talranians have called him Demon's Bane.
Fuck yeah.
I call him in the next campaign.
Oh, cool.
Oh my god, Mike, I have ideas.
Yes, tell me.
But at this point, you all watch as the flap opens up, and you see a older gentleman in golden armor holding a piece of paper that said, "Next time, you kids, send me a note. Wait until I'm on the ground and I have my glasses on."
How will you use that?
Jenkins.
How is that possible?
It was kind of last minute. My apologies.
You're good. I heard you all might need a lift.
Or several.
I can call Fiorio back and the kids if you all want another dragon airdrop.
Did you ever want to take out a wall with a wizard on your back, Jenkins? Yeah.
Professor, if you're going to talk dirty to me, I expect dinner.
I high five Old Man Jenkins.
And he goes, I can call them back, and if you want to drop from above, I think I found a way to get through their defenses well enough to give you guys a shot inside.
Arendir hasn't had a chance to ride dragons yet, you guys, so I think we owe it to him.
At least to the front. Just anything.
Old Man Jenkins looks at you and goes, "Well, you're picked. Do you? I keep forgetting his voice. Fuck.
Adopts.
There's the old silver. There's the younger silver. There's the young gold. They're actually, technically, it's ancient gold dragon, ancient silver dragon, adult silver dragon, and adult gold dragon. You guys got a lot of fucking metallic power on your
Yes,
side.
we do.
The power of metal.
Metal! They tried to kill the metal, but they failed!
So he nods to you guys and goes, "Just say the word, and we will fly you in there." And I believe what the kids say is wreck their face.
I think that's what they say.
What kids are you hanging around?
Listen,
Just played that.
I am so sorry. I wanted to make sure it was the right song for that.
That was amazing.
so if you want, the sort of everyone's standing waiting for your final orders before they start sending them out.
Is this the plan we're going with?
I think this is a good plan, letting Talren and the Cell Swords hold the front, having you and your daughter break walls to the side, having the armies, the combined armies of, Islandor, the Empire, Toknal, meet in the center of the city after clearing it and then pushing through the gate. And then we can pretty much make a hammer and anvil.
Yeah.
And then we can crush the armies against Talren. Because, honestly, I think Talren can hold the line as much as possible. They are, because I did, spend this entire campaign beefing up their army.
They are the STG. Come on.
They're basically our heavy cavalry, and that's kind
They
of
know how to hold the line.
Hold the line. Anyway, speaking of which, what are you guys going to be doing while this is going on?
Assuming we're airdropping into the hole the professor made, and then killing a Dremelech, and then
Awesome. And then heading for the library?
heading
Yeah,
to the
but
library.
before that, Professor's gonna get this side.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
then-
I'm gonna go. Basically, we're gonna. If someone wants to accompany me just as protection.
I will, because then I can use Earthquake on the gate and put a little stank on it to make it easier for the Tyranians.
Because I will teach my daughter Meteor. Unless she
Oh.
already knows it.
She does not, but she can also teach you time stop.
That's what I was gonna say. We're gonna share our books
At
tonight.
which case, in which case, Dustin, I will then show you Tiri's sheet that I made for her when I was using her. So, and so Old Man Jenkins nods and goes, "Well, I'll call them back. So tomorrow morning, we'll fly."
Okay, we'll have to wait for you, Professor, in the.
Yes, I imagine I would be. I have an idea about that, so we'll see if it works.
Okay. Yes, I was just pointing it out, I guess.
Nope. Yep. 100%. I have an ion fucking stone that I never fucking use.
What does it have, like a second level healing word in it or some shit?
I believe I have an ion stone of reserve. It had haste in it. I don't remember if I ever cast it or not. I'm pretty sure I
Use it on me.
That's right. I did use it, so I could put something else in there, which I think I could put a fly spell in.
Yes.
This is the best joke we've ever made.
We'll never top it, ever.
No.
Just a can line of Tauranians kicking doors.
Thum, thum, thum.
I mean, literally, this is why Talronians are trained from birth to kick doors, because there was a prophecy that someday the biggest and greatest door of them all needed to be kicked down. And at that time, Talren would be ready!
My god.
Oh my god, what the fuck's going on anymore? Alright.
The door!
So, that's your plan. Everyone starts to disseminate it through the ranks, everyone getting ready and preparing for it. Is there anything else you guys want to do while at the war table?
No.
Do we have more assets we can spend? I want to make sure I got my Elcor battle tanks ready.
I mean, you have automaton bombs, you have air superior in the turn.
We've done all the side quests. Are all the side quests done?
Yeah, did we do everyone's mission?
Yeah.
Do we have full
Is
loyalty
everyone's
of our
loyalty
crew?
missions? Everybody's loyalty mission is done. My loyalty mission is done. You guys
Mine
have
is.
me now.
Would you like to save before embarking on the final?
Oh god, yeah. Once you pass
Quick
this,
save, quick save, quick save.
So we can reload to save and try again.
I make a bunch of new save files.
Every 5 minutes, every time we beat a fight. Save.
Every time we kill something, we quick save.
Fucking save scumming. Anyway, reminder before you go in, because I love you guys. You also have the stone that calls on Bell. Should
Yep.
you
Yeah.
need.
I remembered that afterwards.
You also.
I'm glad you didn't use it then.
I'm glad I didn't use it. I want to save it for more. Well, I may
Okay.
have to use it on Tremelec. You never know. Also, remember for me anyway. Remember, you have fucking ancient fucking magical weapons.
Yeah,
Because
also,
I could have been casting I could have cast 2 spells out of the goddamn cloak.
Yep. Remember what your cool
We
stuff.
have
can
so
do,
much
guys.
stuff now. I can't remember it all. I have to put sticky notes
I used
everywhere.
like everything.
I never had a chance to use it. Actually, I used one thing from in the fight with the hag, and the other thing just didn't fit.
I keep forgetting to make things roll their 2d6 damage every time they start a turn next to me.
Okay, I have something I want to do after we're done with the meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Same.
Okay.
All right. So everyone sort of nods and goes and sort of to their own thing, and you watch as Battleforge and Tess, probably the closest out of all the people at the table to you guys, go, and they kind of go. Battleforge goes, "Y'all need some fucking rest. You look like shit."
You're right.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to say something flippant, but I'm too tired.
Kind
No, I
Clap.
definitely need a nap.
of he nods. It's like naps are magical. I'll make sure that the Telranians lead the charge, and that the valor and strength will resound throughout history. Good luck, you all. And-
Thank you.
If the worst comes to pass, I'll save a spot for you at the tavern in the sky. He kind of thumbs up you guys and walks off. Tess kind of pulls you into a tight hug, Corrin, and says, "Remember our promise."
I remember.
And she gives you a kiss, and she smooths Aowen's hair and goes, "Be safe, all of you. As much as you can. Please do try to come back. I'm quite fond of you all."
We got this.
We're fan.
And she takes her leave as well. So, what would you guys like to know now? This is going to be from now until the beginning of tomorrow.
Okay, my first thing, I want to go find an armorer and find a rapier that I think would suit Aowen's size and weight.
It's easy enough to find. They're kind of making weapons for every sort of size, from Goliaths all the way down to like gnomes and halflings. So you find one that's suitable for her size.
Do you want me to pay for it?
Dude, you're the fucking Dawn's Graces. It's a fucking rapier. You can have it.
Oi, mate, can I have that?
He just hands it to you. Uh-huh.
Thanks, you're a good lad. I pat him on the cheek, even though he's probably an old man, and then just turn and walk away.
He's a human guy in maybe like his mid-40s, so he's like, "You're a good lad." And you kind of pat his bearded cheek, and he kind of seems like, "I'm a good lad."
And then I go back to Aowen and hold it behind my back and walk up to her. I'm very proud of you. You were strong, just like I said. If you want to stay here, you can. I will give you that option, but I'd much rather you be far away somewhere safe. Just in case.
Miss Allie said if she wanted to take me to the Greenbrier, she said there was a nice lady in the library and I could go read books. Wait for you.
That is an option. I also have a place that Uncle Arendir and Auntie Rael and I have visited, and a friend there who can protect you and keep you safe in a beautiful forest, somewhere so far away from here that if we can't stop the darkness, then it'll take a long time for it to get to you.
Dad, I don't want to stay here.
Alright. I won't force you to go. I take out the rapier, and I hand it to her. This is for you. To protect yourself.
She takes it and she goes through a couple motions with it, and it's really surprising to watch your daughter handle this blade with such finesse. But then you remember that Tess is teaching her.
I go down to one knee and just look her in the eyes very seriously, and I say, don't draw that unless you know you're going to have to kill. And don't ever hesitate.
I won't, Dad. I promise. I'll do you proud.
I'll be very proud if you don't have to use it. I'd much rather you didn't.
Me too.
And then I'll give her a hug, and I'll probably spend the night wherever she is.
Okay.
Yeah, and yes, Nika, I was gonna send her to Arborea with the unicorn.
I mean, real talk, It's a valid plan. Does anybody want to do anything else before tomorrow?
I would like to go visit my daughter.
Okay. It's easy enough to find her. She's talking with Allie, and they're sort of...
Shouldn't kid.
She
Sorry.
looks very different from when you faced her with the hag. She looks less of this sort of imposing, confident woman. She seems a little bit unsure of herself. She's just smiling shyly, but seems to be forging a connection between you and your wife that hasn't been there for the longest time, and they
So
both smile as you walk up.
I walk out of it, like in a tent or like in a building or.
Yeah, they're sort of under a tent right now.
I sort of peek my head into the curtain and I just sort of go, knock, knock. Am I intruding?
Tyria just smiles and Allie goes, "Never, darling."
Well, isn't this going to be a wonderful, awkward time for all of us? I might as well just say it now, logically speaking. I mean, this is not going to be an easy readjustment. We haven't seen you in 100 years. Last time I remember, you were this high. I won't pretend like I don't know what I'm doing right now. But I am glad you're safe. And I know your mother is glad you're safe. Would you like to learn meteor, Storm?
Tyria just
As I just walk up and like pull out my book and like I can't believe your evocation.
She smiles very shyly as she takes her own spellbook and holds it up. She's like, "Well, perhaps we can share." But yes, I've always had an affinity for evocation. She tried to beat it out of me, you know. But
Well, that usually just makes it worse.
she learned very quickly, but I'd love to. Learn from
it's
me.
the little mean streak that we have in my side of the family. Your mother witnessed it firsthand when we met. The rashness of evocation specialists.
Well, it kept me sane for as long as it did.
I'm glad you had that fire to keep you safe. I'm glad a part of me was there to keep you safe. In a way of speaking.
Well, it's that fire that kept me sane enough to find Mirai and tell her to find you.
That was a wonderful thing. To know that you still existed.
You know, I never gave up hope that you would come and find me.
We never gave up hope that we would find you. I'm sorry it took this long. Is that this spell here? It's dealing with time.
Yes, it's something I've learned rather recently.
The weave is remarkably delicate.
It is incredibly delicate. It requires more delicacy than I'm used to, frankly, but it has its uses.
I like to think that Allie like peeks over and is like, "What, that? That's easy." Us evocations, we don't understand the manipulation of.
However, you watch as she does point to a spell a couple pages over and goes, "Now that one I know." As she points out Mordekainen's sword.
Oh, I did just recently learn that one. I took notes as I wink. Yes. Well, if tomorrow we're going to go into war, and I thought maybe you and I, my little emerald, would rain some fire down on some walls from the tops of dragons. as a bonding thing.
I would love to. I'm not gonna lie. That's an amazing bonding outing. I mean, most fathers would take their daughters out fishing or something.
Well, when your father's the professor, one of the Dawn's graces,
True enough.
I have a reputation to uphold, apparently.
You do, and I hope I can live up to it one day.
You most certainly can. You already have. Now, if you show me yours... Wait, nope, that sounds wrong. I'm glad no one else is here to hear me say that. My companions would have ripped me a new one, as Corin might say. I can hear him in the back of my head now. Anyway, we have some studying to do, and then I definitely need to take a rest.
Well, let's go find a comfortable place to sit down, have some tea, and pour over some magical notations.
Yes. Shell and Daryl Cuddlepile. Let us commence.
And you hear a tiny voice go, "Fuck yeah!"
Language, Mirai.
Sorry, Professor. That's really sorry.
They are a horrible influence on you.
No?
Yes, they are.
I'm not gonna tell you what Corin taught me.
I don't want to know what Corin taught you.
It was amazing. But you guys sort of find a place and settle down and make tea and go over notes while Mirai keeps, she is kind of stretched out as much as a roly-poly fairy dragon can, trying to bridge the gap between you and Tiri, because, yes, please. And so that is what you guys do for the rest of the night, going over notation, laughing, discovering who she is now instead of the child she was, and finding and delighting in the surprises that you guys have.
Yay.
And building a bond as a family once more. Talmar, you find Alice easy enough. She is with the mages of the Arcana and Tocnell, and she seems to be looking rather uncomfortable but giving orders. Like, she's not really used to this yet, and she's just really, really fucking not enjoying it. No, you put the pit there and the pendulum there, and I you know what, I can't right now.
I'm gonna attempt to sneak up behind her then.
Roll stealth.
This will be good.
I think this is the first and only roll for the night.
I was
Huh?
gonna say, we haven't rolled a thing.
No,
Roll
you guys
it.
have been doing a lot of role playing, which I mean, I love. To be honest, I made Kyle open up his character sheet.
Stealth!
You managed to get almost up to her before she.
I'm like, damn. I just smile and say, ordering people around?
Listen, alright, I was just fine being in the Dawnwood and teaching Aelin, and then you had to go and give me back my family's territory again, and look down the ladyship. And magic, and perhaps you can order some mages around.
Oh, you were pretty good at that, I think.
Because she hugs you.
I hug her back and say, you have some R&R time?
She looks at everyone else and goes, "Alright, now do that again about 20 times and go to bed."
Perfect. Good leadership.
She just laughs.
So, do you want to go get something to eat?
Please.
Alright.
And then perhaps I can show you my sleeping arrangements to see if they're up to your standards.
I'm sure they're much better than I'm used to.
I'm pretty sure they are. And perhaps we can discuss some Imperial politics.
Yeah, you had me at Imperial.
And she takes your arm and laughs and tells you what she's been up to and asks for details and tells you that you need to be safe and you need to come back.
Well, that's the idea.
Good. Because if I find out you die, I will traverse the astral plane, find your spectral ass, bring you back to life, kill you, and then bring you back and give you a stone talking to.
That's a lot of death.
Then just don't die. Problem solved.
Fine. Alright.
As you two sort of walk to go grab food and you spend the rest of the night together enjoying each other's company. Alright, who's next? Nothing?
What's that? I got my stuff planned for the morning, so.
Alright.
I finish off the bottle and go to bed and cry myself to sleep.
As you
About
kind
it.
of finish the bottle,
Oh, crap, I forgot about Alex. Damn it.
you sort of find a sleeping place after somebody helpfully tries to find you. No, this way. And you curl up in bed and you start to cry yourself to sleep. The image of your brother when you last saw him versus him on the floor as you left, just sort of flashing between the two. And as you fall asleep, you hear a voice singing in Celestial, trying to lull you, and you realize that that is your angelic guide trying to give you at least some brief respite as you drift off. Aaron Deere, did you want to do anything, or are you just gonna drink and pass out?
Mostly that. Yeah, there's nothing specific that he wants to do.
Okay. So you also drink and pass out, and you all sleep, and you're woken before the dawn to get ready as you guys sort of say goodbye to your loved ones, not knowing if this is the last time you might ever see them. As you guys don your armor, grab your weapons, and meet up together as a group, as this sort of ragtag little family that you've become. And you gather yourselves as you see Furiel, Old Man Jenkins, Zena, and Yvonne sort of off in the distance preparing themselves. Is there anything you guys want to do this morning before you head off?
Well, oh, sorry, Alex, go.
Heroes Feast. I'll pay the 1,000 gold.
Okay.
What do we do for that again?
2d12 hit points that get healed.
Yeah, and then wisdom saving throws are made with advantage.
I think it's D10s.
Is it D10s?
I think it's
Yeah.
D10s.
Yeah, it's D10s.
Sure, I'll roll a D10 over
That's
again.
Fucking
20s.
Ah,
That's 20 hit points.
it's only 2 more than I got before.
Winning is me.
Why do all the
I
people that don't
want
need hit
to
points roll well? Sorry. That's just me.
I want to find the head of my order and update him before heading out.
It takes a little bit. Everyone is so busy getting ready to move out, and you find him, he's barking orders as he's trying to get the rest of the order, their rears in fucking gear, as this seems to be the final push, and he's trying to rally them as best he can.
Well, good luck.
You as well. May Heronius' divine power guide you and protect you as you go forward.
You as well.
He clasps you on the
This is-
shoulder.
This is all we have.
This is all we have. But it is enough. we will prevail. And we will send these demons back to where they are from, and then some, and make sure that their ilk never darken our doorway again.
A nod. Well. Walk in light.
Welcome night.
And I go back to the group.
Dear, I'm taking 1,000 gold pieces out of the bag of holding.
And we only have 22,000 left after that.
Okay. And on we fight!
As you guys finish preparing, and start to, you watch as the dragons start to head over to you, ready to take you to the castle.
And before that, I'm going to find Tyrannus.
Okay.
I'm assuming he's going to be, readying all of Talran.
Oh, he is. You walk in on the final bits of his speech about how you are Talrenians, we were born for this. And this day, our war cry will echo through history. Today, we show the true strength, the true power of our people, and it will be known that when darkness came, Talren led the charge. Push it back.
I'm going to, as he finishes his little thing, his speech, I'm gonna grab him by the hand and give him like a firm handshake. And it's been an honor knowing you, old man. I don't plan on coming back from this.
His face is solemn, but he nods. Oh, figured as much. It's been an honor knowing you as well, Connor Blackwall.
I've made arrangements with an old friend to get the Black Maw and the crown back to its rightful people, if I should fall. But one last thing before I'd leave. I'm going to stand in front of I'm going to walk in front of the men, and this isn't the first time I've stood before you, and this is the last time I will as well. Today isn't a day of heroes and songs. Today is your day. We all die, or will live, by your spears and shields. It does not matter if we kill this dark god, if there's nothing left to come back to. I'm gonna walk up and grab one of their shields. On these shields, Talren does not break, we do not bend. We are the anvil for which the hammer of our armies shall strike against and crush these armies against us. You will not bend. We are sons and daughters of the mountains, and we do not break. And I'm going to turn and just war cry.
As you war cry, the entirety of the Talrenian army echoes it in return, and then starts the chant, Talren, Talren, Talren. And then Balfour turns and is like, you heard your king. No matter how those demons howl, we will not bend. And they start screaming, losing their fucking minds.
Mm-hmm.
And Balfour
Connor, will you suck my baby?
Battleforge looks to you and goes, "Send them packing back to hell."
You too, old man.
He grins and he starts laughing, and then he gives another war cry, and he's just... At this point, everyone is like... And it's sort of... You watch as it infects the other groups. You watch as the sellswords of Shar are just grinning, and they start pounding their weapons against their shields in rhythm. And you even watch the top million mages start, like, pounding their staffs against the dirt in rhythm, and
Just demurely clapping.
they are thumping their staffs, and there's sort of this earthy thump, thump, thump to the high of ting, 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 and there is the armies of Koskana in unison, giving war cries, readying themselves to face the army of the damned and the demonic, ready to give their lives to protect this world. And Connor, you walk back as the dragons ready themselves. And you all mount upon the dragons. Professor and Corin, you are on Argenkenseer. Who's going on Fioriel?
I'll go on Furio.
Grenadiers on Furio. Who's going to go on Zena? And Yuvon.
I'll go on Yuvon.
Connor will go on Yuvon.
My daughter's going on one. I don't know which one's going to come in from the east.
I think that's gonna be okay. Which dragon? Alex? Zena? Yuvon?
Whichever one isn't that that isn't the other one attacking the gate.
Okay. Alright, cool. Go on. And so you guys mount your dragons, and one by one they take to the air. Tiri is going to be on Zena. So as poof, 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 you're soaring as the sun breaks over the mountains to the east and sort of casts this golden glow across the plains. And you watch as it washes over the castle as it gets bigger and bigger in view. And you can see the army of demons and undead as you head towards the castle, head towards Adremalek, and head towards the sealed tomb of Balamon. And that's where we're leaving off for the night.
Today, we cancel Independence Day. Wait, hold on.
Wait.
You are so close.
So, yeah, woo!
Oh god, I'm so scared.
So I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it wasn't quite super exciting, but
I thought it was exciting.
That was great.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, I was gonna make a joke and say that tell everyone that this blade's name is Zirael, which is only Mike and Charles would get it. It means swallow in the Elder
That
tongue,
would have been dope.
but I forgot to.